Made locally in Bath. This is Radio Bath.
Now, I'm joined by John Smith, who's Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Avon and Somerset. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I've got you there. There was a worrying blip there at the very beginning there, but that's fine. Yes, good. Now, we've been hearing a lot, particularly in the last 24 hours, about lockdown and in particular the practical problems with enforcing it and policing it there. How are you finding the situation on the ground just now?
Well, if I could just say things about the overall situation, it's of course extremely serious. I was listening to the Home Secretary briefing last night, as I'm sure a number of people were. 35,000 people in hospital. That's 22% higher than last week. 1,234 deaths on Monday. The pressure on hospitals and the NHS, including IUH and other hospitals in our area, is really building up, and the situation is afraid only getting worse at the moment, and is expected to for another week or two. We've also got our police officers have got more infections now, and we've got more people off work with COVID-related absences than we've had at any point during the pandemics. I just want to set that context on. I think the situation is very real. It is a very difficult situation, and the message is really very simple. Stay at home, take personal responsibility, only leave home for the limited reasons that you're allowed. We've all been doing this for some time now, but it's just to reinforce that the message is as serious and as important as at any point.
Yeah, we seem to be in a strange position here, don't we, in Somerset and across the border in Wiltshire there, insofar as we know that we've got a lower average than the national figure, which has always been reassuring, but it has gone up astonishingly quickly in the last few weeks, hasn't it?
I think that's absolutely the right thing to focus on, Simon. We are still below, in our area, we're still below the national average, but it's at a level now, even within our area, that would have been extremely alarming a couple of months ago. And also the rate of increase is as high as anywhere. So I think we have got to brace ourselves and keep following the rules. The next few weeks are really going to be crucial.
Yeah, we've got no scope for complacency, do we, at this moment?
No, indeed. And you asked me about what compliance looks like. I attend a lot of meetings with the senior police officers that are running this, but also with local partners. We are getting reports of breaches. You probably saw about the rave that the police acted very proactively to head off at the weekend. That sort of thing in this current climate, for people to be planning events like that, large gatherings, is really irresponsible, I'm afraid. And what happened was the organiser there has been arrested and does face the potential of a £10,000 fine. And anyone who turned up who was clearly planning to attend that was issued with a ticket, and quite rightly so. So I think there's a message there to anyone planning a big event like that. Please don't, and you will face consequences if you do. And, I know it's been difficult. It's been difficult, particularly for young people. It has been a very uncertain and frustrating time, but we have got to keep sticking to the rules. It is important. It is in all of our interests. Yeah,
the more flagrant breaches, that was astonishing, weren't there? 38 fines issued for that rave there. And I did hear about people driving from Bristol to have a kebab in Cheddar.
Yes, it's that case has got well coverage. I think there's been a lot of speculation about what messages mean. This stay local message. The guidance. There's two things that are important. There's the actual legislation, the regulations, which is what the force, and that just talks about shouldn't leave home, other than for specific reasons. One of the permitted reasons is exercise, and of course, taking exercise is important. This is having an impact on our mental health, and it's absolutely right that people should be allowed to go out and do that. But there's the guidance, which is actually pretty clear about what stay local means. It talks about people should stay within their village, their town, or the part of the city where they live. So, I understand, some people saying it would be helpful to have more clarity, but that, it seems to me, is clear enough that people can work with. And the real driver and the real area for personal responsibility is to think, is what I'm doing reasonable and is it likely to increase the spread of the virus? That's what this is all about. And that's the sort of reasonableness we're looking for people to apply.
Yes, you're right. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that the local definition has been loose, but actually, if you look at the guidance, it is pretty specific about staying in villages and towns and parts of cities. So there is that. And I think that's the other message too that we're probably also trying to get across now is that whatever uncertainty or wriggle room or stretch you might think there is in the guidance, that's not really helping the situation, which is, stay at home as long as you possibly can for all the reasons that we now know about.
Yeah, absolutely, Simon. It is about taking personal responsibility, and it is about, rather than trying to find ways to sort of get around the rules, it is to try and comply with the spirit of them as well as the letter, and to remember the purpose that we're all doing this for.
Yeah. And the other important message I think that we hear from that is that there are some people, aren't there, who are going through lockdown who are more vulnerable than most. And I don't mean medically vulnerable. And that's where we do need the police to focus their efforts.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, throughout this really difficult period, from March, really, there has been a lot of concern from our office and from the police and from our key partners about people who aren't necessarily safe at home, and it is worth emphasising that there are still services. So there is a government website. So this is not an excuse.org that gives details of domestic abuse charities that are available within the Bath area. You've got the excellent Southside charity. They have a website as well. Those services are still available, and in fact the government via our office has provided additional emergency funding to organisations like Southside to make sure there's extra support available through this period. But also young people, and it has been a difficult time for them. A lot of the structure, a lot of the the prospects that they might have been thinking about, I'm thinking particularly about people who are doing donations in the last couple of academic years, a lot of that has either been changed significantly, or there's been a lot of uncertainty about, and I think there's quite a lot of disaffection as well amongst that group. So we've been working very set up a violence reduction unit, working with our partners at Bath and North East Somerset Council and with health partners and others, and that is looking at those young people who might be particularly susceptible to violence, either to become a victim or a perpetrator of that, and trying to work with them to encourage different behaviours. So that's really important.
John, that's very kind indeed. I know that you must be very busy there, so I'll let you go. But the fact that we're trying to do so much to help young people who do need of the police sometimes, and certainly the support to get through what is a difficult time for all of us, of course, is good to hear. We'll catch up with you perhaps in a couple of weeks' time, and hopefully things will be moving in the right.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, and just the final note, of optimism. The vaccination program proceeding apace, and that is a very positive aspect. And we hope that will bring, an ability to end these restrictions very soon. Yeah,
I sort of feel I'm in a bit of a foot race here for the first time, actually. After thinking, well, I'll just be careful, but I don't feeling particularly threatened. I'm now sort of conscious that there's a race between succumbing to the virus and getting the vaccine. And I have to say, I'm not in the best shape for a foot race just now after a year of lockdown, but we'll talk in a couple of weeks. Indeed, for coming on there. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bath and West Wiltshire's Radio Bath.